Today I have Azuca with me out of New York. We're speaking with Ron Silver and Kim Rael.
Hello.
You know, I really would love to just start by getting a background on the company and how you all came into cannabis. Do you both remember your first connection with cannabis? Maybe the first time you smoked? Ron, do you remember?
100%. Best day of my life.
Great. Tell us about that, please.
It's not the most appropriate thing, probably, but I think what happened is that a young Robbie Hopkins, before 6th grade, one day asked me if I wanted to smoke some weed. And so we went behind the Cash Saver gas station, smoked a joint, and then went to 6th grade. Best day of 6th grade ever, really.
I'm sort of the opposite of Ron. He was a lifelong cannabis enthusiast, and sometimes I call myself the accidental cannabis entrepreneur. So I really wasn't a cannabis user. And a few years ago, a classmate from business school introduced me to Ron and the product and the technology. And I sampled it and was just completely convinced that Ron's product was going to be a game changer.
So what was it like coming into this market, this new industry that's becoming regulated, you know, for recreational in a lot of states? New York is not quite there, but you know, your product has CBD in it, which can go over state lines. So what has it been like for the two of you to join this industry and really bring a product to market?
So I came out of the tech industry. So I've been involved in startups for a very long time, very complex technology-based companies as an investor and an entrepreneur. And I tell people all the time that this is the hardest thing I've ever done. I've done startups for over 20 years. And obviously the regulatory infrastructure is really challenging. For CBD, it's different state by state. For THC, it's different state by state. THC and CBD are regulated completely differently. So the complexity of the regulatory maze is just a real challenge for the industry. Figuring out how to bring this incredible bundle of culinary products with THC and CBD into the market through that maze has been our strategic challenge. So we've launched our CBD line, which we have a wholesale line of ingredients for other brands that want to have CBD inside their product. We've launched a direct-to-consumer CBD line, which is available on our website. And then on the THC side, we license the technology to other brands and producers. So for example, we've licensed the Infusion fast-acting technology to Warner Brands, and they've launched a really fantastic product that we're very excited about. But yeah, Ron, what's your perspective?
You know, the moment that I came in contact with cannabis was a powerful moment for me, and I really loved cannabis from the minute I experienced it. I have a whole bunch of sort of weird personal reasons for having a connection with it. I lost my father in like 1967, and I was 4, and so I came to find out that he really loved cannabis, and for whatever reason, it was just a sort of a flow of some sort of weird spiritual flow I felt. Basically, when the industry started forming, maybe 7 years ago, I had a friend who's kind of a hustler and a real business opportunist, I would say. And so he started a thing called what he was calling a cannabis hedge fund. I found myself in his office in Las Vegas and listening to all of this ideas that were going to be turn into the cannabis industry, really. And at the end of that day, I asked everybody what they felt the biggest problem in cannabis might be. And 100% of them said a controllable low-dose edible. I felt that I had a specific set of skills to address that problem, mostly being that I'm a chef. And at the time, you know, looking back, I thought that I had a deep understanding of cannabis, but what I really had was a fascination with it. And there's a deep dive into the science of cannabis itself, which is largely anecdotal due to the laws and, you know, the sort of stigma behind it. But then just learning about poorly water-soluble drug delivery systems and things like that, and understanding how to make oil act right in different environments, both on the shelf and in the body. And I really found myself going into a real rabbit hole of understanding a whole bunch of stuff that, in a way, I've been working with all my life, just with my hands, but having no idea I've made a million hollandaise sauces, but I didn't really understand what was going on exactly. It's been very interesting to apply my understanding of, what we have to call food science to an understanding of cannabis, and then weaving that together with other sciences. And it's been a real learning experience.
When it comes to production, and Kim, maybe this is where you can shed some light. So where do you guys source your CBD from? Where are you sourcing your products from? We know that nowadays transparency is key. We need test results. A lot of products, not a lot of products, but some products don't have any CBD at all. There's snake oil. So people need that transparency. Where do you source your CBD from, and are they tested? Tell us a little bit about that.
Sure. So we are fanatics about testing, and you mentioned that there are products out there that don't have the CBD that's claimed, or that have THC when it's supposed to be only CBD. All kinds of just really disappointments to me that give the whole industry a black eye. So we triple test everything. For our CBD products, we use distillate, and we source it from licensed farms in Colorado and the Northwest. And we source distillate that's been tested by the farm and extractor. When we get the distillate, we test it again before we put it into product. After we process the distillate into our products, or sugars, or simple syrups, or chocolates, then we test the final product again. So before anything goes into an Azuca package, it has been tested at least 3 times for CBD potency and accuracy, as well as any other contaminants, heavy metals, pesticides. We are absolutely fanatics about that, and we think everybody in the industry should hold themselves to a very high standard on potency and testing and consumer safety.
And what's going on today, we're in the midst of this pandemic. Everyone's been affected in one way or another. How has COVID-19 impacted Azuca? Has it not? Have you seen changes in, production? Tell us a little bit about how COVID has affected Azuca.
When, the COVID crisis hit, we were kind of at that perfect startup moment where the wind was in our sails. We had literally just, the Wanna Quick product had launched. It was taking off at really a pretty unheard of velocity in one of the most crowded markets on the planet, which is Colorado. We had just launched our CBD e-commerce site, and then, the world started falling apart. So what we did on the business side is, as I think, many organizations did, is we looked, long and hard at our cash position, and did some resizing of our budget to make sure that the business was going to be strong and viable through what looked like it could be an extended downturn. We pulled back on some of our marketing spend. We cut the size of the team, unfortunately. On the THC side of the business, sales are very strong. The Wanna Quick Peach Bellini product was the number 19 gummy SKU in Colorado amongst hundreds of SKUs in April. So again, just showing the velocity of the product. So obviously edibles are doing really well through the pandemic. Makes sense, right? People want their cannabis, but with issues and fear about lung impact, I see a trend away from smoking and vaping. And I think the edibles category is going to be a huge winner. I think consumers are going to demand, as Ron was saying, fast acting, predictable onset. I don't think traditional edibles are going to be on the market in a couple of years. I think every edible will need to solve that problem for consumers. Ron's creativity has been at an all-time high during the last few months. He has, the ideas and the innovation, stuff that's not on the market yet, and we're not even really talking about yet publicly, but the next generation of fast onset, predictable edibles has been, I would say, percolating rapidly in Ron's brain. So I think all net, COVID, the crisis has given us an opportunity to, hunker down and really focus on what's differentiated about Azuca, reinvest and continue to invest in our innovation, and then keep these, these great products that had just launched, keeping them available to the market for, for consumers. So that's what we've been doing.
Going off Ron's creativity during this time, Ron, what are some of the core values of Azuca? What do you want the community to know about the company? I mean, what mission did you set out with for this company to give back to the community, the cannabis industry, which is so small and still coming into the mainstream? Tell us a little bit about Azuca's core values.
I would say the one that pops into my mind first, it may seem like a strange core value, but I think that my first instance of focus was figuring out how to get old ladies high. And I think that one of the main thing about it is that, older women are particularly helped by cannabis, and older women are often have a lot of sort of negative ideas about it. And some of those ideas are just pure fear out of, if you eat an edible and it doesn't kick in, and, you end up in a position of like Maureen Dowd, where, is that who it was? Maureen Dowd?
Yeah.
Who, ate like 200 milligrams and went off the deep end because it just wasn't kicking in quickly enough. Really, the controlled, understandable dose is the thing that I've really been shooting for. And I suppose that the idea behind that is to have real actual integrity. And like Kim said, we're obsessed with testing, but we're also very much focused on delivering on a real experience and a real understanding of what that experience is. There is a lot of sort of obfuscation or confusing information out there. So I think that one of the things that goes behind getting old ladies high is being honest, accurate, consistent, safety-minded, coming up with interesting delivery mechanisms or ways that people can consume it in a controllable, understandable way. And also, frankly, to have things that taste good and that are, that are thoughtful.
And that's very commendable, because a lot of people that come into cannabis, not a lot, but some people are here to make a quick buck. And they're, in it for a short time. And so it's important, for consumers to know, who they're purchasing their product from. People want to meet the maker. They want to know who's behind the curtain. And so I can appreciate your dedication to bringing a clean, quality craft product to the industry. And so on that note, I know that you guys just released actually a fast-acting time infusion. Do you want to talk a little bit about those products, or what that is for consumers, and how other people, if they want to work with Azuca, how they can get involved?
Sure. So we have two brands, or two families of brands at Azuca. Azuca is really our product brand. So things like the Azuca sugar sticks and Azuca chocolates on the CBD side. We also have a line of Azuca infused THC products that we've licensed to producers. The time infusion is the brand for the technology or the infusion process inside that makes the edible fast onset and predictable. So if a brand would like to have, a brand extension, have a fast acting product, as Juana did, it's powered by time infusion. So we license the technology and provide the precursors to a partner brand to make their product the best it can be. So those are the two different elements of our business model. And that's what the time infusion is. It's the actual technology that powers both our products and our partner products.
I have one final question, and Kim, I don't know if you're much of a smoker, so if you don't have an answer for this, that's all right. But Ron, what's your favorite strain?
At the moment, I've been smoking this purple Granddaddy Perp or something like that.
I love it. That's my favorite strain, GDP.
It's really good, and I also have a particular fondness for this King Louis XIV.
All right, great.
What is your favorite strain? The GDP?
Yeah, so I grew out in Humboldt County, and that's where we started the Emerald. And so I grew, I mean, over over the years that I was there, Granddaddy Purple, Jack Herrera, which was great. I love Jack Herrera. I mean, we grew Blue Dream, but who didn't? You know, XJ13. So, you know, but I would say Granddaddy Purple and Jack Herrera, probably my top two.
You know, my first job out of high school was growing weed in Mendocino County on Spy Rock Road.
Oh, okay. All right.
So, and that was all that, like, short, fat, purple buds back then, a lot of that.
Well, I mean, a lot has changed. I mean, now it's, you know, it's all it's heavily regulated now, actually.
Yeah.
So, you know, but it's still got its, I mean, it's so beautiful up there. It's truly just a gorgeous, gorgeous part of the world. And
it is
it's a blessing to be up there. You know, it's very special. Very, yeah. Well, we'll have to do a second interview to talk all about your past experiences, because I think that we could easily fill an interview with the Emerald Triangle. So.
Oh my God! I mean, I was in the middle of that when it was really weird. You know, fun people.
Yeah, great people. All right. Well, thank you both so much, Kim. I appreciate your time. Ron, thank you so much for speaking with me.
Thank you.
Take care. Bye.